Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Oprah Show. I'm your host, Mark Ziegler. We have quite an interesting one for you today, folks. I survived a hippie cult. We have with us in the studio two people who were once part of the notorious sunflower cult, who some believe are responsible for the disappearance of hundreds of young men and women across the country.
Oh, hell no!
Rodeo and Aunt Denise, thank you for being with us today. How you feeling?
Well, first let me say, you mentioned that we used to be members of, as you call it, the sunflower cult, but actually we're still part of it. More on that later. Secondly, we don't actually use the word cult. Nobody does. That's an offensive term.
Yeah.
We prefer the word team. Team. Now, I want you all to imagine driving down a road and you see some roadkill. It's a spider. You don't stop. Further up the road, you pass a dead cat. You don't stop. You see a dead deer. You don't stop. More driving, more roadkill. You see a bear, don't stop. You see a gorilla, don't stop. But then you see a human being lying on the side of the road. And what do? You don't stop. And why? Because she's laughing at you. And she's laughing, and she's laughing, and she's laughing. And that's why I'm sitting here today. Because the sunflower cult, the sunflower team, saved my life. It was the 1980s. I was fighting in Vietnam. I owned all sorts of chains. I lost my way. But now, I cup my hand over wheat fields and corn grows from the whiskers of my choo-choo. And that's all because someone once handed me a brochure that said the sunflower on it. And from that, I learned the ways of water farms and the human drift. That is, turning people into stargates. How you can exfoliate their pores to the size of brand new Lamborghinis, people, and walk right through them. And I learned that it is through the living body, literally, where you can experience the greatest mind-altering high abracadabra.
It sounds to me like you're not just sympathetic to these hippies, but that you actually love them.
Actually, Ziegler, hippies is an offensive word. We prefer the term Earth people. But whatever, you're not my dad.
Ooh.
And so what if your kid goes missing, or you never see your partner again? There are more important things in life. Things are just things, man.
But these people are going bye-bye.
If you can't find these people who have disappeared, then how do you know they're not having a good time, or the best time? You have to understand that we go bye-bye too. We're all out there in a beyond zone that you can't comprehend. And by the way, remember what I said about still being part of the cult? Well, I'm not just still a member, but I'm the leader. And Aunt Denise and I have come here today to turn this whole studio audience into a sea of gaping door holes. To soak you down, to disappear into all of you, with all of you. A pleasure unlike anything you've ever experienced. Come. Open up. Ice cream and french fries. Be born again by famous pregnant hunter-gatherers with bandages on their heads. I am the people. We are the people. And this is love. This is drugs. Drugs is love. Drugs is love.
And this is when the event known as the massive entering occurred. The scene became chaos when thick fog was pumped through the vents. A high-pitched bone horn got blown, and the doors were bolted shut before anyone could escape.
Fuck.
Mouths were frozen open in mid-scream as areas on the body began undulating, forming lesion-like portal holes, foaming in parts. From backstage, a horde of Earth people were released, flooding into the auditorium and wiggling themselves into any nook and cranny to deep dose on the drug of flesh. Bare feet were plunged into softened chests. Throats were being dived into head first. There were belly flops into bellies, straight in and beyond. No one in the studio audience was spared, including celebrities like retired wrestling legend Bret the Hitman Hart. The fog spilled out into the street, turning the highway into the dead salt flats of Niagara Falls. Cars were dried out with people petrified inside of them, waiting with glowing corporeal chasms to become multi-dimensional trailways for weird stoners. All around the riverside, people began disappearing, both host and mooch, to the sound of jumbo bubble wrap being twisted by the universe. Some say this fog is still spreading to this day. Just take a look out your windows. It might be rolling in from the hills, ready to take you to the other side. We'll see you there on the next episode of
Oprah.